Okay, so today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Elon Musk.
Oh boy.
You sent over this article, and wow, Elon Musk's secret plans for humanity, what he's not telling us, it's a doozy.
Yeah, that article's been making the rounds.
It really has, and, we're not here to endorse any of these ideas. Just take a look and see what people are saying.
Right, it's important to consider different perspectives and think critically about these things.
Exactly. So we'll lay out what the article says, and, you can make up your own mind about all this.
Sounds good?
So right off the bat, the article is painting this picture of Musk as like this, I don't know, mastermind building his own empire, almost like a Bond villain.
Well, he certainly is a fascinating figure. I mean, love him or hate him, he's hard to ignore, right?
Absolutely. And I think what makes it so interesting is that it's not just one company. It's like this whole web of ventures all connected to him.
It's true. He's got his fingers in a lot of pies: Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, Neuralink.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to take over every aspect of the future.
Well, I wouldn't say take over, but he's definitely trying to shape it in a big way.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But the question the article keeps coming back to is like, is this good for the world or is it too much power for one person?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, is he building a better future for everyone or just for himself and a select few?
Yeah, like is this a utopia or a dystopia we're talking about here?
Well, that's what we're going to try to unpack by looking at each of these ventures and the potential consequences.
Exactly. So let's start with Tesla. I mean, everyone knows electric cars, right? But the article makes this point about Tesla being more than just
Oh
cars.
yeah, they're way more than just a car company at this point.
Right. It's like they're building this whole energy ecosystem.
Exactly. Solar panels, battery storage, charging infrastructure. They're aiming to be the one-stop shop for all your energy needs.
And the article allaying what happens when one company controls that much of our power grid?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. It's a lot of power concentrated in one place.
And with someone like Musk at the helm, who, he's not exactly known for being shy about his opinions.
Let's just say he's not afraid to ruffle some feathers.
Right, and the article really plays up that angle. Like, is this good for the planet or is it too risky?
I mean, it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, a rapid transition to renewable energy is crucial for fighting climate change.
Yeah, we definitely need to get off fossil fuels as fast as we can.
Exactly. But on the other hand, you're right. Giving one company that much control over critical infrastructure, it's a big gamble.
And that's not even getting into Starlink yet. I mean, who doesn't love the idea of high-speed internet everywhere?
Right. It sounds amazing on the surface, global internet access connecting even the most remote parts of the world.
Yeah, but the article really digs into this whole information control aspect.
Ah, yes, the dark side of Starlink.
It's saying if Musk owns the network and a major social media platform like X, what used to be Twitter, he could control the flow of information on a global scale.
Yeah, the article paints a pretty scary picture of that. Like he could censor certain viewpoints, promote his own agenda, even influence elections.
Yeah, it's like a recipe for a very Orwellian future.
It definitely raises some red flags about freedom of speech and democracy.
And then there's AI, which is like a whole other can of worms.
Oh yeah, AI, that's where things get really interesting. Or maybe terrifying, depending on your perspective.
The article highlights this seeming contradiction with Musk. On one hand, he's warning everyone about the dangers of AI, like he's this prophet of doom saying it could destroy us all.
Right, he's been very vocal about those concerns.
But then he goes and founds XAI, his own AI company.
Not to mention all the AI development happening at Tesla with their self-driving cars and robots.
It's like he's saying AI is dangerous, but I'm going to be the one to control it.
That's exactly the question the article raises. Is he trying to stay ahead of the curve, make sure he's the one holding the reins of this powerful technology?
And there's this quote from Musk that the article uses: AI is the most powerful technology humanity has ever created.
It's a chilling quote when you think about it in this context.
Yeah, because if he truly believes that, then maybe he sees himself as the only one who can handle it responsibly.
It's like he's trying to fight fire with fire, but does that make things safer or just riskier? It's a tough question to answer.
Yeah, it's like, are we putting all our eggs in one very volatile basket?
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. We haven't even gotten into his plans for colonizing Mars yet.
Oh yeah, the whole Mars thing. That's a whole other level of ambition.
Right, this idea of sending 1 million people to Mars by 2050, it sounds incredible at first, like humanity's next giant leap.
But the article frames it as more of an escape plan for the elite, like a backup plan in case Earth goes kaput.
Yeah, that's the darker interpretation, who gets to go to Mars. What about the people left behind on Earth?
And what kind of society are they building on Mars? Is it a utopia or just a continuation of the same old problems?
These are all questions that the article raises, and it paints a pretty bleak picture of what that Martian future might look like.
So we've got Tesla controlling our energy, Starlink controlling our information AI, potentially controlling our minds, and a select few escaping to Mars while the rest of us are left to deal with the consequences. It's a lot to digest.
It is, and we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah, there's a lot more to unpack here, and we'll dive into it all in the next part of our deep dive, so stay tuned. Okay, so we're back. And I gotta say, my head is kind of spinning after that first part.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground.
Like every time I think I've got a handle on what Musk is up to, he throws another curveball.
He's definitely not predictable.
And I think that's part of what makes him so fascinating, but also kind of scary.
Yeah, the unpredictability factor definitely adds to the concern, especially when you consider the scale of his ambitions.
It's not just like he's building a better mousetrap, he's trying to reinvent the whole world.
And that's what makes this deep dive into the article so thought-provoking. It's not just about Musk himself, it's about the kind of future we're heading towards.
Right, and whether that future is something we should be embracing or fearing.
Exactly. And one of the things that really stuck with me from that last part was the whole AI thing. It's like he's both terrified of it and obsessed with it.
Yeah, that's a weird combo, right?
Totally. The article suggests that he might be trying to control AI before it gets out of control.
Like he's in this race against the clock to become the AI overlord.
Well, maybe not overlord, but definitely a major player. The article uses this term AI domination, which might sound a bit dramatic.
Yeah, it does sound kind of like a sci-fi movie.
But it highlights this idea that whoever controls AI will have a huge advantage in shaping the future.
Right, because it's not just about robots taking over, it's about AI influencing every aspect of our lives, our jobs, our healthcare, transportation systems, everything.
Exactly. And the article is saying that Musk is trying to position himself to be that guy, the one who holds the keys to the AI kingdom.
And he's got a lot of resources at his disposal between XAI and all the AI development happening at Tesla. It's like he's betting big on this.
And then there's Neuralink, which is a whole other level of AI integration.
Oh yeah, the whole brain-computer interface thing, that's where it starts to feel really sci-fi.
Imagine a world where people can download knowledge directly into their brains, or control devices with their thoughts.
It sounds amazing and terrifying all at the same time.
Exactly. It's like opening Pandora's box. You don't know what's going to come out.
The article touches on some of the potential ethical concerns with Neuralink, like what happens to our privacy and autonomy when our minds are connected to machines.
Right. It raises all sorts of questions about what it means to be human and who's in control.
So is Musk the hero trying to prevent a dystopian AI future, or is he the one who might accidentally create it?
That's the million-dollar question, and I don't think anyone has the answer.
It's like we're in uncharted territory here, and we're all just kind of along for the ride.
And while we're trying to wrap our heads around AI, let's not forget about Musk's other big project, Mars.
Oh yeah, Mars, the ultimate escape plan.
The article frames it as more about abandoning a sinking ship than saving humanity.
Like he's building this exclusive lifeboat for the wealthy and powerful while the rest of us are left to drown.
That's a pretty harsh interpretation, but it's not entirely unfounded. I mean, who gets to go to Mars? How do we decide who's worthy of a second chance?
And what about the people who stay behind? What kind of future are they facing?
Right, it raises some serious ethical questions about equality and fairness.
Imagine Earth in a few decades ravaged by climate change and social unrest, while a select few are living it up on a pristine new planet.
It's like a modern-day Noah's Ark, but with a very limited guest list.
And even if we could overcome the logistical challenges of colonizing Mars, which are immense, what kind of society are we building there?
Is it a utopia where we learn from our mistakes and create a better world? Or is it just a continuation of the same old power structures and inequalities?
The article doesn't offer any easy answers, but it forces us to confront these uncomfortable questions.
And I think that's the point. It's not about predicting the future. It's about making conscious choices about the kind of future we want to create.
And that's where I think Musk's role gets really interesting. He's not just a tech CEO, he's a visionary. He's someone who's shaping the future whether we like it or not.
And that's why it's so important to understand his motivations and his goals, because they're going to have a huge impact on all of our lives.
Well, here we are, the final part of our Elon Musk deep dive. It's been a wild ride.
It really has a lot to think about.
Yeah, my brain is officially fried, but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of this whole Musk enigma.
It's true, he's a complex figure, and there's no easy way to sum it up.
But I guess that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. It's not just about the technology, it's about the man behind it all.
And the implications of his actions for the future of humanity.
Exactly. So as we wrap things up, I think it's important to come back to that central question that the article keeps posing. Is Elon Musk a force for good or a threat to our freedom?
Right. Is he a visionary leader or a power-hungry tycoon?
The article definitely leans towards the latter, painting this picture of a future where Musk controls everything.
Yeah, it suggests that his control over energy, the internet AI, could give him an unprecedented level of power.
And that he might use that power to reshape the world according to his own vision.
Which might not align with the values of democracy and individual liberty.
It's a pretty bleak outlook, I gotta say.
It is, but it's a perspective we need to consider.
But I also wonder if the article is being a bit too pessimistic. I mean, there are plenty of people who see Musk as a hero.
Oh, absolutely. He has a huge following of people who believe he's trying to save the world.
Right, they admire his ambition, his innovation, his willingness to take risks.
They see him as a disruptor, a game changer, someone who's not afraid to challenge the status quo.
And they believe that his heart is in the right place, that he genuinely wants to make the world a better
It's
place.
a more optimistic view of Musk, and it's worth considering as well.
Yeah, I think it's important to acknowledge that there are multiple perspectives on this.
Ultimately, it comes down to who you trust and what you believe about Musk's intentions.
Are we putting our faith in a visionary who will lead us to a brighter future? Or are we handing the keys to the kingdom to someone who might abuse that power?
Those are the stakes, and it's a decision we all have to make for ourselves.
So what have we learned from this deep dive? Well, I think the main takeaway is that the future is not predetermined.
It's shaped by the choices we make today.
And those choices are becoming increasingly complex as technology advances at an exponential rate.
We need to be aware of the potential consequences of these technologies, both good and bad.
And we need to engage in open and honest conversations about the kind of future we want to create.
Because the decisions we make today will have a ripple effect for generations to come.
Now, before we sign off, I want to leave you with one final thought. The article focuses mainly on the potential risks of Musk's vision. But what if we flip the script for a second?
Okay, I'm intrigued.
What if we imagine a future where his vision of a multiplanetary civilization actually comes true?
Humans living on Mars and beyond. That's a pretty mind-blowing concept.
It is, and it raises a whole host of new questions and challenges.
Like, how would we govern ourselves across multiple planets? How would we ensure a fair and equitable distribution of resources? What rights and freedoms would be guaranteed to individuals living off-world?
Yeah, those are some big questions, and I don't think anyone has the answers yet.
But they're questions we need to start thinking about now. Because if Musk's vision becomes a reality, the future of humanity will no longer be confined to a single planet.
It's like we're on the cusp of a whole new era of human existence, and it's both exciting and terrifying.
So as we conclude this deep dive, I encourage you to keep exploring these complex questions. Keep learning, keep questioning, and keep engaging with the ideas that will shape our collective destiny.
Because the future is coming, whether we're ready for it or not. And it's up to all of us to decide what that future will look like.
And who knows, maybe one day we'll be having a deep dive about the first Martian colony or the challenges of interstellar travel.
That's a deep dive I'd love to be a part of. Until then, keep those minds curious and stay tuned for more explorations into